while paddle boarding yesterday evening.
Sure. Kenora OPP divers have located the body of a man on Lake of the Woods who disappeared while paddle boarding yesterday evening. Police.
Hello, Rob.
Thank
Who?
you. Randy or Matt?
Thank you.
He said Randy. Oh, my bad.
Really?
Yeah, you said Randy.
Rhonda. Starting at 8 on Psych, when Gus babysits Rachel's son, a simple trip to the circus turns deadly.
Local swimmers react to cliff jumping deaths. More sexual assault charges against Jeff Paxton. And families hit local stores for back-to-school deals.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Kenora OPP divers have located the body of a man on Lake of the Woods who disappeared while paddleboarding yesterday evening. Police say the 52-year-old Manitoba man fell into the water and didn't resurface.
It's the latest in a recent string of drowning deaths throughout northwestern Ontario. The body of 31-year-old Jordan Desfossés was recovered yesterday after his canoe tipped over on the Cam River on Saturday. And 2 other people died after cliff jumping at Silver Harbor on Lake Superior this weekend. 26-year-old Marlene Fox and 32-year-old Kevin Spade have been identified as the victims. Handwritten tributes to the pair now grace the rock from which they jumped. Many visitors to Silver Harbor today expressed sadness in the wake of the tragedies. Some people we spoke to, though, still regard cliff jumping as a safe activity if the water is calm. But for Carlos Baronitos, who's visiting the city with his family from Minneapolis, it's simply not worth the risk.
We were going to be doing some bouldering and possibly jumping off the cliffs, but we heard that what happened, so I decided not to do that, but just for the safety of my daughter, that I don't want to take a chance.
Ted Walter, a frequent visitor to the Silver Harbor Conservation Area, says he'd like to see something as simple as a sign put up to warn people of the dangers of cliff jumping in the area.
I really think that sometimes even the obvious should be stated clearly, as a warning or take heed, please, because, cautionary reasons and your safety, etc.
Officials with the Lakehead Region Conservation Authority, which maintains the area, and the municipality of Shunya have declined to comment on the matter.
A new energy plan has been released for portions of the region expected to see some of the highest electrical growth in the province. The global demand for minerals and above average population growth in remote northern communities are behind the need for the new study. Dennis Ward has the details.
The Ontario Power Authority have been looking at the electricity needs of areas north of Dryden, including First Nation communities and the Ring of Fire. The plan calls for upgrading and building new transmission lines from Dryden to Red Lake and Pickle Lake. There is also a plan to connect 21 remote communities. Common Voice Energy Task Force co-chair Ian Angus says the study shows the OPA is listening, but adds it's frustrating it took this long.
5 years ago, Musselwhite mine officials met with then Minister Smitherman, who gave orders to Hydro One to find a solution to Musselwhite's lack of power. And so here we are 5 years later, they're finally getting around to developing a comprehensive plan for that area. It just speaks volumes about how much the OPA has ignored the reality of northwestern Ontario.
The estimated cost of the 2 new lines are roughly $265 million in the near term. The medium to long-term plan slated for 2017 through 2033 calls for a new line from Pickle Lake or Marathon to the Ring of Fire. First Nation communities would also be connected to the grid at this time. The OPA believes that could save $500 million in diesel costs over 40 years. Angus says it makes financial and social sense to connect them to the grid.
the longer that they're not connected to the rest of us, the longer they'll be isolated. So let's build the network. It makes sense to feed it off of Red Lake, Pickle Lake, and Long Lac through Greenstone, providing a series of loops up there so that there can be a continuation of supply. And we know from experience on the James Bay that there will be economic growth.
There is currently a comment period on the plan. Angus says the task force will try to strengthen it and get it implemented as soon as possible. Dennis Ward, TBT News.
An investigation is underway following a train pedestrian fatality last night in Hudson, west of Sioux Lookout. OPP were called around 10 o'clock last night following reports a person had been struck by a train. 47-year-old Arnold DeRuin of Sioux Lookout was pronounced dead at the scene. The OPP and CN Rail police are investigating.
A Thunder Bay man is facing more than a dozen additional charges for alleged sexual assaults of young boys. 46-year-old Jeff Paxton was first arrested last year and then had more charges laid against him in July. And the Criminal Investigation Branch of the Thunder Bay Police Service has now laid 13 additional charges against him. Police say the alleged victims range in age from 7 to 14 when the assaults are said to have occurred. Police spokesperson Chris Adams says this brings the total number of charges to 23 and the number of victims to 11.
With 5 additional victims. In the previous charges that were released a couple of months ago, those involve 6 separate victims. In this case, now building to these 13 charges, there were 5 additional victims who had the courage to come forward and help investigators piece it together.
The charges stem from incidents that allegedly occurred between 1983 and 2004. Paxton remains free on bail and he will appear in court tomorrow to face the new charges.
Well, it's a happy ending for Thunder Bay's Habitat for Humanity following what could have been a crippling theft. A silver 3/4-ton Dodge pickup truck was taken from Habitat's Restore location on Squire Street Friday night. The theft forced the organization to halt its mobile operations such as pickups, deliveries, and salvage operations. CEO Diane Mitchell says the truck was found last evening in the parking lot in the city's East End. It was in good shape with no apparent damage. Mitchell says she's thankful to have the truck back and in working condition, and she's extended thanks to the public for their support in finding the vehicle.
Thunder Bay's 2 MPs are fired up over the Prime Minister's decision to request a prorogement of Parliament from the Governor-General. Many are calling it a distraction tactic as Harper is still under fire over the Senate expenses scandals. Nate Jones reports.
There will be a new throne speech in the fall. Obviously, the House will be prorogued in anticipation of that.
It's a move that Harper has used before. The announcement came Monday while the Prime Minister was in Whitehorse on a tour of the Northern Territories. Right now, the next sitting of the House is set for September 16th. But if the Governor-General gives the nod to Harper's plan to prorogue the Parliament, MPs won't be back until October. Local MP Bruce Heyer has long been a critic of Harper's agenda. He intends to ask the Governor-General not to prorogue the House and to take it a step further and dissolve the government.
The Governor-General is a conservative, but he's also a man of integrity, and I hope this time he'll do the right thing. He'll say no to the bully. He'll make Mr. Harper take accountability for what has transpired, and for better or for worse, let's get back to work on September 16th.
Many believe this is an attempt by the Conservative leadership to stall and somewhat distract Canadians from the Senate scandals. Some believe it could be the Prime Minister's office taking a break to refocus in time for a throne speech in the fall. Thunder Bay Rainy River MP John Rafferty says Harper's track record with prorogation is suspect.
The last time, of course, everyone remembers, which was to avoid the government falling, and we were prorogued for a couple of months, and so Canadians just simply don't trust Mr. Harper to be doing it for the right reasons.
Whether the Senate scandals will affect the Conservatives' grip on the government remains to be seen. Both Heyer and Rafferty believe that Canadians are suspicious of Harper's motives and that the truth will be told in the numbers. Nate Jones, TBT News.
Well, it's that time of the year when students of all ages begin to wrap up their summer activities and begin getting ready for the start of a new school year. Local stores are filled with shoppers looking for the perfect binder or new backpack, but as Courtney Rutherford reports, it can be a pricey endeavor for the parents.
Probably between $100 and $150. Meredith Mio, along with her 2 daughters, are filling up their carts quickly. Shopping for school supplies for 2 kids can ring up quite a bill. The schools her daughters attend have provided lists of things both girls need, and it adds up pretty quickly.
It can get pretty expensive once you get all of the supplies that they need. It's not just pens and pencils. You have to worry about the binders and paper and highlighters and all kinds of things. It can get pretty pricey.
According to a survey funded by the Bank of Montreal, the average Canadian spends close to $428 per child each year on school supplies. It doesn't come as a big surprise that stores like Walmart say it's their busiest time of year.
Yeah, back to school is the second busiest shopping period of the year next to Christmas. The magic number now is 158. That means one mom will take 5 trips over the next 8 weeks to do her back to school shopping.
Meanwhile, it's a similar story over at Staples. Pasquale Coclamiglio is the local general manager. He says the store boasts themselves to be the city's back-to-school expert, adding that they prepare for this time of year for months leading up, and they don't predict it slowing down anytime soon.
Thunder Bay tends to be a late last-minute type shopping experience. They usually, starting mid-August to about mid-September, is absolutely very busy, very insane. That's typically when people shop.
As for the Mio family, the total cost of their supplies was a little more than they expected. But the youngest member of their family isn't all that concerned. She says she's excited to just get back to school. Courtney Rutherford, TBT News.
A pair of road closures for Thunder Bay drivers to know about. A portion of Pacific Avenue will be closed tomorrow from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. between May Street and Simpson Street. The closure is necessary as Thunder Bay Hydro crews upgrade the power lines in the area. And the Pick River Bridge on the Trans-Canada Highway near Marathon is being closed for 1 hour on Thursday. The closure will take place from 10 a.m. until 11 a.m. Construction crews are doing repairs on the bridge, and there is no detour available.
Graduating is a big moment in a person's life, no matter what age and no matter what level of education. 58 graduates and their families celebrated their educational achievements at the Fort William First Nation Community Center last night. It took Cheyenne Solomon 2 tries, but she finally finished high school. Cheyenne is one of 3 students celebrating her graduation from a general education development program. The 22-year-old dropped out of high school when she was younger. She said she never took it seriously until she had 2 children and realized the value of a good job. She says there were hard days juggling motherhood and school, but she's happy to call herself a graduate.
It was a good experience. I had a good time. They made it fun to come to school, and it was good.
The school atmosphere was awesome. It was learn as you go, whatever. Quiet, easy atmosphere to learn.
Kathy Rogers is a teacher at the schools. She says most of the students graduating last night had previously dropped out due to family reasons, other life struggles, or because they had kids.
This has provided them a space where they're comfortable and in smaller numbers as well. And the KHS, it's all under the Ministry of Ontario. And so we actually now offer university level credits so that they can go to university.
Rogers notes what makes this program so special is that it gives students the chance to learn in a real community-based environment without having to leave their families and home communities.
Well, the mercury was soaring in Thunder Bay today, and we almost set a record. According to Environment Canada, we hit 30.6 degrees Celsius this afternoon. That's just 1 degree shy of the record set in 1976. There was also a humidex warning as the temperature felt closer to 40. However, it felt much cooler at local beaches due to the wind off the lake. Meanwhile, officials at Kekabeka Falls Provincial Park are alerting the public that it is unsafe to swim at their beach. Ontario Power Generation has altered its hydro dams, causing high water flow on the Cam River and the falls. And the assistant park superintendent says the water's moving too fast for swimmers.
So the signs were posted Monday morning. And we also put a beach advisory on our Park Reports website. So on the Ontario Parks website, it'll give the beach advisory. So we post signs at the beach, at the pay and display machine by the gatehouse. And the website advisory, and then our staff are also notified to inform visitors coming in that the beach is unsafe for swimming.
The beach is expected to be closed until September.
It's unfortunate. You could certainly use it today.
Well, we definitely could. And You know, I don't say this very often, but Matt, I actually felt sorry for you last night. I heard you had to play softball in this serene weather, and for those who have to play baseball tonight, good luck.
Yeah, you feeling sorry for me, Randy? I don't know if I've ever heard that one before, but yes, it was quite a bit warm last night, and it will remain that way this evening as well. But again, today's highs, you just heard in the previous story, we almost hit a record, 31 degrees we got to today, humidex of 40. Yes, it was scorching outside today. Hopefully you didn't get sunburnt, and hopefully you didn't spend too much time outside if you were in the pool or something like that, or swimming elsewhere. That wind gusted up to 36 kilometers an hour as well, but again, mainly sunny skies. As we have a look at what's happening across the region right now, those hot temperatures, yes, are just the same across the country. 32 in Dryden is your hot spot right now, but look at all the 30s all the way across the boards. Not so much. Greenstone 28, Marathon a little bit cooler at 21, Sault Ste. Marie down at 27. But I do have some severe thunderstorm watches and warnings to tell you about right now. Lake Nipigon. In the area, large hail, damaging winds, heavy rainfall possible with this storm. This is now a warning. The storm is actually in Fort Albany off of James Bay. So this is where the storm is right now, where meteorologists are tracking it. There's a warning as well, but Hearst, Kapuskasing are all under a severe thunderstorm watch as we speak right now. Thunder Bay tonight only going to be 18, so it's going to continue. That heat's going to continue to be warm tonight. Mostly cloudy. A possible thunderstorm we could see this evening, and that'll continue into tomorrow morning. That wind going to stay gusty up to 32 kilometers an hour. Tomorrow is where you see that really strong thunderstorms that we could see popping up in our city over the course of the region as well. And then also as we move into late into the week, that finally going to get some relief from that heat as the jet stream drops down, some cooler air coming down. But I will have more details on that coming up later in the News Hour.
Thanks a lot, Matt. Well, a Southern Ontario community stands behind the victim of a shocking display of intolerance. We'll have that story and more coming up for you right after the break.
You selfishly put your kid outside every day and let him be nothing but a nuisance and a problem.
An Ontario community is rallying around the family of a 13-year-old autistic boy after his grandmother received an anonymous letter telling them to either leave the neighborhood or have the boy euthanized.
Brenda Milson says she was shocked when she read the letter, which arrived in her mailbox on Friday. Michelle Chung reports.
That's the sound of a happy 13-year-old. But one person doesn't like the way Maxwell Begley expresses himself and sent a letter to the boy's family.
You selfishly put your kid outside every day and let him be nothing but a nuisance and a problem.
Carla Begley's son is autistic and often sleeps over at his grandmother's because Carla suffers from multiple sclerosis. The letter was sent to the grandmother and goes on to say, "That noise he makes when he's outside is dreadful. It scares the hell out of my normal children. Do the right thing and move or euthanize him. Either way, we're all better off. Sincerely, one pissed off mother."
I was shaking and crying, and I just couldn't believe it.
Brenda Milson was so upset that someone in her small community of Newcastle would send her the letter, she called police. The police say the contents of the letter are not enough to meet the level of a hate crime.
It still makes this a very disturbing situation. It's something that's obviously bothersome not only to the family but to the neighborhood and to the police. And we're going to work hard to try to figure out who sent this.
When some of Milson's neighbors heard about the letter, they went door to door to try to find out who would write such a thing. They didn't find the author, but Maxwell's family says that they're overwhelmed by the public support.
But the goodness that people have shown in the support, like worldwide.
Begley says as horrible as the letter is, the attention has highlighted what families of autistic children go through.
I just want people to be more aware that these kids, you know, they just want to be accepted and loved, and they're normal children, you know, even if they don't talk, they understand.
Maxwell doesn't know about the letter. His family says he thinks he's gotten all this attention because he's special, something his mother won't dispute. Michelle Chung, CBC News, Oshawa.
The Prime Minister's swing through northern Canada has been putting a focus on mining and resource development. And today, Stephen Harper talked about his government's ongoing support for training in that area. Julie Van Dusen has more.
I work for De Beers up at Snapley. Which is? Right there, yeah.
Stacey McSwain is a college graduate trained in the north, now working in a diamond mine. She exemplifies what Stephen Harper came here to promote.
Much of the North's treasure is underground.
Harper is pushing mining investment and skills training to help the North prosper.
And current estimates show that by 2017, the mining sector will create thousands of new direct and indirect jobs in this territory alone. So northern mining has the potential to permanently change many lives for the better.
The program highlighted today will cost $5.8 million over 2 years and is training 400 Aboriginal participants to work in the mining sector. The North has a booming young population, and a smiling Harper found himself surrounded a lot by kids. These ones crowded around the back of a Hercules posing for photos.
I want to take umbrage with the preamble of the question.
But Harper became testy when he was asked why he wasn't focusing as well on social problems that plague the North.
This is direct support to people, including Aboriginal people in this territory, that will put them directly into jobs that will immediately benefit their lives.
Meanwhile, the plan Harper revealed yesterday to prorogue Parliament continues to raise the ire of the opposition.
He's hiding. He doesn't have the courage to face Parliament. And that's the problem with Stephen Harper. He's a bully. He always centralizes power. But when the time comes for him to answer for what he's been doing, he runs and he hides.
Stephen Harper wants this trip north to put his government in a positive light. But it's clear that his decision to delay Parliament has given the opposition a new reason to criticize his government and question his leadership. Julie Van Dusen, CBC News, Ottawa.
A Toronto police officer made his first court appearance today, charged with second-degree murder in the shooting death of a young man on a streetcar. Ron Charles reports.
Toronto Police Constable James Fersillo was shielded by the tinted windows of this van as he arrived through the prisoner's entrance behind Toronto's courthouse. Inside, he made a brief court appearance before his bail hearing was sent a few blocks away to Superior Court. Both his lawyer and the head of his union spoke on the courthouse steps.
He's obviously upset and, very stressed by this whole incident. And let his counsel speak a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a life-changing incident for him.
The incident ended the life of Sami Yatim, an 18-year-old holding a knife on an empty streetcar. Versillo is charged with second-degree murder for firing 9 shots at Yatim, rare charges for an on-duty police officer. This is also rare, someone accused of murder leaving the courthouse on $510,000 bail a few hours after first arrival.
It's rare if you want to talk about murder cases in general, but when you look at the circumstances of this case, this is a case where Mr. Versillo didn't ask to be at the foot of that streetcar. He was on duty, and he had a legal obligation to be there.
Lawyer Selwyn Peters specializes in police law. At different times, he's represented officers up on charges and families of people killed by police. He says convicting a police officer for murder will be a hard sell in court.
Jurors are very reluctant to convict police officers, especially when they're acting in the course of their duties, and they present a subjective basis for using force, particularly lethal force.
Versillo's next court appearance is September 30th for a pre-trial hearing. Ron Charles, CBC News, Toronto.
2 Canadians arrested in Egypt on Friday have been ordered to be held in custody for 15 days. Foreign Affairs officials continue to work on their release. Reports in Egyptian media say the judge ruled that the 2 men, along with 7 other foreign nationals, must be detained as prosecutors examine the case. It's believed that John Grayson of Toronto and Trek Lubani from London, Ontario, are among dozens of people accused of storming a police station and being involved with the Muslim Brotherhood. Meanwhile, the crackdown widens in Egypt. The country's army has detained the leader of the Muslim Brotherhood, Mohammed Badiya. He's accused of being involved in the June killing of 8 protesters outside in Cairo. He has been hiding since early last month, and his arrest is the latest step on the military's crackdown on the Brotherhood. He and his deputy are to go on trial later this month.
The battle over religion in Quebec is heating up again. A newspaper report says the government wants to ban people from wearing religious symbols at hospitals, schools, and daycares. Catherine Cullen has the story.
Get to know the Muslim community. For Kathy Malas, this is no abstract political debate. She works in a hospital and has no intention of removing her headscarf, even if the government insists.
Very hurtful. I'm very saddened to even think that government can have this kind of discourse. Is he thinking of the impact it has on people?
Quebec's citizenship minister has been preparing what he calls a charter of Quebec values. It was already expected it might ban members of the civil service from wearing visible religious symbols, all in the name of secularism and equality.
I do think that equality between men and women, equality of all citizens, notwithstanding origin, mother tongue, religion, I do think these are important values.
Today, a report in the Journal de Montréal says he would go even further, including public schools, daycares, and hospitals in the ban, along with government offices, police forces, and the courts. The government isn't denying the report, just saying it won't release its proposals to the public until next month. The topic is a familiar one to Quebecers. 5 years ago, the province held a public commission on religious accommodation. One of the men who chaired it calls this new potential extension of the ban monstrous.
It just is a terrible move. It's a gratuitous move of exclusion, because they aren't going to do anybody any harm, by definition, if it's functionally okay. And they're just told that they can't be treated like everyone else in the society.
It's not clear whether the minority government can pull off its reported plan. Today, opposition parties said they don't support what they read in the newspaper. There's also the question of whether such restrictions could withstand a legal challenge. Catherine Cullen, CBC News, Montreal.
Kensington Palace has released the first official pictures of the royal rascal, Prince George, and the snaps are a rather informal family affair. In fact, it was the Duchess of Cambridge's father, Michael Middleton, who got behind the lens to capture the whole family, Prince William, Catherine, little George, as well as their black Cocker Spaniel Lupo and the Middleton family's golden retriever, Tilly. pictures were taken in the garden of the couple's unofficial royal refuge, the Middleton family home in the small village of Bucklebury. Happy family.
Yeah, good looking family. Let's take a look at the day's markets now. The TSX jumped 82 points to 12,670. The Dow slipped roughly 8 points to 15,2. And the Nasdaq gained 24 points to 36.13. The Canadian dollar closed at 96.26 cents US, down 4/10. Gold rose almost $7 to $1,372 an ounce, and crude fell $2 to close at $104.96 per barrel. Well, the Toronto Blue Jays certainly need to start winning some games against AL East opponents. Randy, they were in New York today to take on the Yankees, and it's a place where they really haven't had a lot of sustained success.
No, they had lost 9 in a row in New York, and they've won only 1 of 10 games against the Yankees this season.
It's not so good.
And when you do that, you're not going to get to the playoffs.
You're not winning
the
division.
Blue Jays,
No.
yes.
Yeah. Before we get to the lowlights, because there are no highlights, Major League Baseball has suspended Red Sox pitcher Ryan Dempster 5 games for hitting Alex Rodriguez with a pitch over the weekend. And now to the lowlights. After a day off, the Jays hit the Bronx to battle the red-hot Yankees in a day-night double dip. New York entered the matinee game having won 7 of their last 10. But it's the Jays grabbing the lead in the second off Ivan Nova. It's Mysore Turris lining a single to center. That will do the job as Adam Lind is plated. Now up 2-0. Roger Davis caps a 4-run second. He'll find lots of real estate in right center. That will cash Turris and Jose Reyes. New York, though, gets 3 runs back in the third courtesy of this swing by Robinson Cano as he launches his 23rd home run deep to center off J-starter Esmail Rogers. 4-3 Toronto. Bottom of the 6th, the Bronx Bombers take their first lead as Chris Stewart goes yard off Neil Wagner. It's his 4th long ball. That made it 6-4 New York. They go on to take the series opener 8-4, and to make matters worse, Jose Bautista left in the 4th inning with a sore hip. In senior men's ball last night, the first-place Daytona Dodgers squeaked by the Coastal Steel Orioles 6-5. Adam Josephchuk was the winning hurler. And the pressure was on Canada last night as they faced a must-win against Panama at the Little League World Series in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. The winner moves on. The loser heads home. And in this one, not a good start for the Canadian reps from Nepean, Ontario, as Edgardo Rosales rings up Angus Adams for a solo shot to left center. Rosales with a 4 RBI game. Still in the second, Panama goes up by 3. Rafael Iseric hammers a pitch to right. It's misplayed by the right fielder. You could score it a 2-run triple, 3-zip. Then Juan Crisp, no relation to Coco Crisp, does his part with a 2-run single up the gut. Panama put up 6 runs in the inning. Different pitcher, same result in the third. This time it's John Corneo hammering a 2-run double to left center. The road is officially on. Canada down by 9. This one finishes up 12-zip for Panama as John Mars Sanchez goes deep off Clay Surrett for a 2-run tater. Canada heads home with a 1-2 record. Panama takes on Taipei, China next. And the Anaheim Ducks will be without defenseman Sheldon Surrey for up to 6 months with a torn ligament in his wrist. Detroit has finally signed forward Gustav Nyquist to a new 2-year contract worth about $2 million. CFL News, Montreal Alouettes quarterback Anthony Calvillo officially won't play Thursday night at home against BC. He has a concussion. And in Winnipeg, Max Hall starts at quarterback against Hamilton Saturday. The Blue Bombers front office shuffle continued this past weekend with the firing of offensive coordinator Gary Croton. Russ Hobson fills you in.
I mean, ultimately, it's my decision.
This time, the buck stops with head coach Tim Burke, and it was him who had the final say in firing second-year offensive coordinator Gary Croton.
Just lack of points. I mean, we just aren't scoring any points. We just weren't having enough success. And I think we got to try a different approach.
Croton came to the Bombers in 2012 with an extensive resume that included an NCAA national championship as offensive coordinator at LSU. But this season, the Bombers' offense ranks dead last in most of the important statistical categories, including points scored, where they're averaging a little under 22 points per game.
We struggled on offense at times, and other times we had some good moments, but there wasn't a consistency that we needed, and I feel bad about that.
Marcel Belfay has been given the unenviable task of getting the offense on track, and it's not exactly a great situation to walk into for the former Ticats head coach.
I didn't want to do this position when I came here. This was not the reason I came here. I wanted to consult the rest of the season and try and help and make things better. It's always a challenge coming in midstream.
There's no magic button to just turn on the Bombers' offense, but the new OC has already seen a number of things he wants to change.
I did see some disconnects as it relates to the CFL game. Some things that are just structurally CFL. I feel overall we haven't necessarily had an identity.
Russ Hobson, Global Sports.
Well, this past weekend, the BC Lions unveiled some new threads, and it's safe to say they've hit the jackpot with their new third jerseys, and it seems fans have no problem shelling out $125 to get their hands on one.
The only ones available are for custom is Lule, Harris, and Big Hill. Yeah, do you mind if I put you on hold a quick second? Thank you. BC Lions, please hold.
It's been anything but business as usual at the BC Lions office. The first morning cup of coffee wasn't even finished before 80 more orders came in for the Lions' new futuristic third jersey. Never before has a new Lions jersey generated this kind of excitement, where the team's boardroom has been transformed into a makeshift Lions distribution center with wall-to-wall team gear.
First off, at the stadium, we had a tremendous response. We basically sold out. We had a few sizes that weren't, but we basically sold out. Our partners, Reebok, we've been working on this for a number of months. They delivered in terms of getting us at least 750 to be able to be in a position to start selling. We're basically sold out. We have a second shipment on the way. So it's gone over extremely well. And like I say, the biggest thing is just the positive vibe it's created.
The Lions have worn numerous helmets and uniforms over the years. It's a rite of passage in pro sports where a steady stream of new colors and new designs are introduced on what seems to be a fairly regular basis. This is just a small sampling of some of BC's. For the Lions, the matte black helmets and gunmetal gray jerseys were an instant hit on and off the football field.
We have a motto we live behind that you have to look good to play good, and that's like if you're preaching in front of a whole congregation, you have to have a nice suit on to make sure everybody know you're the center of attention. So those uniforms, we were the center of attention, and we got the W, so that's all that matters, and we got the win with it, so it felt good.
I think it brought a whole another level of excitement to be able to put on something like that, all blacked out, black matte.
Does it matter to a player what kind of uniform they wear, what it looks like?
I think I think it does. You know, we don't want to say that it matters what we got on, but everybody wants to look good, you know, when they go out there and play. And, you know, you heard some things from Calgary, and they complimented us about the uniforms and they said we look nice. So we felt them. You know, we love them. We want to bring them back next game. We want those to be our permanent uniforms. We like them a lot.
Michael Vick will start the season as the Philadelphia Eagles starting quarterback. And in preseason action last night, Ryan Benazzo was doing the happy dance as his Washington Redskins knocked off Pittsburgh 24-13. Little does Ryan know it's only preseason. RG3, by the way, didn't play in the preseason game. Now the plays of the week.
Just knock over all the chairs. Yes. That's how you get a souvenir.
Broke his bat. Soft liner just by Fister. Look at that play by Iglesias. Ladies and gentlemen, that just happened. Young hits one high to left field. That one is caught by Grossman. Are you kidding me?
All right, he got it. Now give it to the kid.
Here's Brown from the 14-yard line. Tim Brown's got a seam up the sidelines. He goes. Tim Brown's got the kicker to beat. Brown to the middle of the field. In the end zone, touchdown. Watch it.
There's the rush over the middle. Oh, what a catch from S.J. Green. Watch it. We'll see that tonight on SportsCenter. Watch it.
Fly ball left field hit well. Gordon back to the wall. He reaches and runs right into the left field wall. Oh my goodness, what a play by Gordon.
And the good news when you're up against it. Van Persie, the mark of a genius. New season, same old Robin Van Persie.
Oh, he's got a bloody
That's right on top of the plate.
That's up the middle. Nice flip. Beckham to Ramirez on a double play.
Up the middle. Giannis dives back. Flip for the out at second.
He may not like left field, but he plays it like a Hall of Famer.
And
This is nothing new for Jonathan Bostic. And Shady McCoy, look at Deco to the outside and back in.
Puig is a long way to come, and it's going to drop for a hit. On his way to third, and a great throw. Got him. Holy mackerel, what a throw.
Looks like a hammerhead snapping up a mackerel. Got it.
block. Caught for the touchdown by Reggie Wayne. You can't make it up.
Thought I was watching the Bengals play there.
How come you,
fine catches at the end.
how come you didn't have Leonard Hankerson's 1-yard touchdown catch from my Redskins game last night?
Because it was only preseason.
And the
We won't
Colts
do that in the regular season.
And the Colts are better. Anyways, yes, to Teletalk on tonight, Global Thunder Bay, a double dip of NCIS. Here's your full lineup on Teletalk.
Tonight on Global Thunder Bay, starting at 8, it's NCIS, and the team reacts to the murders of Ziva's father and Vance's wife. Then on NCIS Los Angeles, an investigation into sleeper agents could expose Sam's past. And at 10 on Elementary, a British criminal with ties to Sherlock's past shows up in New York. Over on CKPR Thunder Bay at 7:30, grab a cuppa with the gang from Coronation Street. Then at 8, Rick dances with Alice in Wonderland's Mad Hatter on the Rick Mercer Report. At 8:30 on 22 Minutes, illusionist David Blaine finds magic at Tim Hortons. And at 9 p.m., Bobby must keep a troubled rock star from falling apart on Arctic Air. Teletalk is brought to you by Points, the traffic ticket specialists.
So far, it's been a pretty less than ideal summer, but that's not the case this week, Matt. It's been absolutely beautiful. Some would even say too hot. I'm not one of those people. But
Yeah, it's tough to complain about that right now, that it'd be too hot at this point. But hey, something about me doing weather and somehow ends up being nice. So not saying anything anyways. Okay, again, as Holly just mentioned, today's high, 31 degrees. We got up to a humidex of 40 as well today. I had this earlier, but it's a very hot day in Thunder Bay and the surrounding region, but that humidity and all of that heat is causing some instability. Details on that in a couple of seconds, but again, a mainly sunny day. Let's look at what's happening across the country right now. Vancouver, 21 degrees, mainly sunny skies. Prince George, a little bit cooler at 17. Edmonton and Calgary, both 20, 22 degrees respectively. As we move into the Maritimes, 21 and 23. Regina, a little bit more cloud cover in Saskatchewan right now, but Winnipeg, 28. And up in Churchill, 18 degrees. Sorry, check that. So a little bit cooler up in Churchill. But you see that heat that's coming up from the States as we move down to Toronto, 27. Ottawa, Montreal, 28. Quebec City, 27. So Southern Ontario also benefiting from those warmer temperatures right now as well, and some of that beautiful weather. As we move out into the Maritimes, Fredericton, mostly cloudy skies in Fredericton, just 22 degrees, 23 in Halifax, 17 in Charlottetown and St. John's, 7 degrees. They actually have a frost warning tonight for most of St. John's and the surrounding region, believe that. A frost warning, 31 degrees, but a frost warning out there. Not so lucky for them. As we have a look at the systems map today, there's that cold front moving down, but you're going to see this pocket of precipitation that's going to hang around in the region up to red. So again, there's going to be some thunder showers, thunderstorms tomorrow morning in Thunder Bay and in the region. But as we move into Thursday, those are all going to dissipate and another high pressure system comes in. So we're going to have a couple of beautiful days more of sunshine, which is always a good thing. To update you, as I said, on those thunderstorm watches and warnings, been upgraded to warnings in Lake Nipigon and Greenstone. Still watches for other parts of the region, but in Moosonee as well. That is a thunderstorm warning right now. So for those people, hail possible with this storm, heavy rainfall. Take cover if you are in those areas and you get caught in that storm. As we have a look at the region tonight, there is that rain that we've been talking about in Greenstone tonight, 17 degrees. The temperatures are going to remain, again, fairly warm for this time of year as well. But again, that wet weather will find some of the region. Again, that's going to continue, as you see, for most of the region tonight into tomorrow morning. Temperatures looking good, but as we go and move into tomorrow afternoon, those thunder showers will hang around for the morning, parts of the morning, but as we move into the afternoon, some more beautiful temperatures. And the best thing for people around the region, not going to be as humid, which is definitely a good thing. That humidity is going to get out of the region, so those temperatures are going to feel much more like they would normally. Right now, in Thunder Bay, sitting at 39 with the humidex right now, so again, still very warm at this point in the day. Wind gusting, though, almost up to 40 kilometers an hour as we move into tonight. As I mentioned, going to see some showers, a possible thunderstorm as well tonight, 18, so it's going to be warm. But again, be prepared for some showers tonight. Winds gusting up to 27 kilometers an hour coming out of the southwest. As we have a look at your day tomorrow, 21 degrees at 8 a.m. Yes, it is going to be one of those days. Tomorrow around noon, 24 degrees, and then 27 by late in the afternoon tomorrow. But again, not as humid. That's the one thing to remember, I think, at this point. And for the next few days, not going to be as much humidity in the air as we've seen today and the past previous days. As we have, again, look, 60% chance of showers. That's going to be in the morning as well. Those showers will dissipate towards tomorrow afternoon, but there is a UV index of 7 tomorrow as well. Thursday, 24, mostly sunny skies. Friday, again, similar temperatures, and we're going to be right around partly cloudy. Going to drop down a little bit cooler, though, those first couple of days as you saw that cold front move through. Saturday and Sunday, though, looks okay right now, but we have about a 60% chance of showers on both days and a possible thunderstorm Saturday night moving into Sunday. So the weekend is hit or miss right now, we'll see, but hopefully that sunshine will continue for the next few days.
It's time to visit the Thunder Bay and District Humane Society shelter, and tonight Fiona Gardner introduces us to a 2-year-old lab mix.
Hi, I'm Fiona Gardner, and this week's Humane Society Pet of the Week is kind of a heavy breather. This is Tuco, who is a 2-year-old lab cross. Now, Tuco here has a lot of energy. He is looking for a home where you want to spend a lot of time with him, running and playing and really working with him. He pulls a little bit on a leash, but he's basically a very gentle boy. He is not a fan of cats. In fact, he thinks they are the enemy. So let's keep him away from the felines. But kids would love to play with this boy. Come meet Tuco today at the Humane Society.
Your Pet of the Week has been brought to you by Thunder Pet. Expert advice and high-quality pet food within your budget.
Well, when you're driving a vehicle at night, you're typically on the lookout for other cars on the road. Sometimes deer wander on the road. We're not typically on the lookout for fireworks exploding at street level. But if this next story tells us anything, maybe we should be. Stay with us. Well, it seemed like a quiet nighttime ride for this motorcyclist in England when suddenly a firework shot into the street. Take another look as the firework spirals into the street, just missing another biker before exploding under a bus. Turns out it came from a nearby wedding celebration. Frightening, but at least no one was hurt. Could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, you definitely don't look for that when you're driving.
Yeah. Make some spectacular videos.
We're going to recap our top story. Well, there is another drowning in the region. The OPP have located the body of a Manitoba man who drowned last night in Kenora while paddle boarding on Lake of the Woods.
And the Jays are in New York playing the Yankees in a twin bill. The nightcap goes tonight. They've already lost game 1, 8-4.
Yeah, beautiful temperatures tonight. Those will continue for the next couple of days. Chance of rain, though, tomorrow morning, so watch out for that.
And that'll do it for your early look at news, weather, and sports. We'll see you tonight on The Late Edition.